Many people are wishing me a happy new year. From amongst the leaders that came up here on stage, there's one person who is truly blessed. If you're in the Crown Club, that's $400,000 a year. But do you know what this person said behind me? President Park, I'm already 30 years old. I'm so sad. I'm so depressed. That's what she said. Sunhwa, why don't you stand up? You may sit down. She started this business when she was in her early 20s. She followed her mother. And now she has a net worth of $400,000 a year, having just turned 30 years old. I think it is a true blessing to become rich when you're still so young. It's better than becoming rich after you've become old. I think as people get older, financial stability becomes truly important. If you can become successful that young, then you will have more time to enjoy that success. In Atomy, one can pass down their membership code down to 3 generations. You'll be able to pass down your code to your children and to your grandchildren. I tell our young leaders, why don't you just receive the code from your parents? No, President Park. My parents said that they plan to live until they are 100 years old. That means I will receive the code when I am 70 years old. So they say that it is better that they just start now. That is why many young people are joining this business. As I mentioned, many people wish me great blessings for the new year. But what does that mean? What does it mean to be blessed? All of you have come to a truly blessed place. Many people think that the Atomy business is finished because there are 3 million members in Korea and 7 million members overseas. But I honestly think it's just the beginning. Now is the right time to truly join Atomy. Go outside and ask people on the street if they know about Atomy. Try asking people on the street, do you know Atomy? There are still many people who don't know Atomy. As of now, less than 10% of Korea's population have become Atomy members. And hundreds and thousands of those members have gained success. There are still 90% of the Korean population left. There are still many people left who are not members for all of you to become successful. Actually, in the beginning of Atomy, there was this one type of person. We were filling in that person's membership code in the system. At about that time, our computer system was completed. This one member said that he was too late to join Atomy. He was actually number 50. Yeah. I said, how am I supposed to be successful with this number? You should give me a number at least within the first 10 numbers. It took Atomy a full year to have more than 1,000 membership codes. Yeah. Today, we have thousands of new members every day. In the beginning of Atomy, it took a full year to have 1,000 members. Crown Master Lim, I think, is code number 979. A full year had passed since we started Atomy. Imagine how slow our progress was in the beginning. So, if a person had started a year previously and had 1,000 partners under him, he was doing better than the average contractor. He just had to know that the company was doing well. But at about the 1,000th member, that one member said again, "It's too late." I said, "It's not that late. You can start now. There are already 1,000 members. There's no room left." That same person said the same thing on our 10,000th member. And again on the 100,000th member. I should have started when there were only 10,000 members. When Atomy grew to 1 million members, he regretted for not joining again. That person's membership code eventually died. That was it. Some people always say it's too late. But really, it's never too late. Amongst Atomy members, there are only about 10% that are active members. Even from amongst all of you who are sitting here during the new year, I think there would be only about 10% that would put everything into Atomy. Only about 10% would give everything that they have. Most people, I think, just came here without much thought. That is why there are still plenty of opportunities to reach people. There's still lots of room left in this business. Since it's the first seminar of the new year, I just want to tell all of you to look at the Atomy business from the perspective that it's not too late at all, especially in Atomy. You can do business here, just as if you had code number 1. Let me explain the marketing plan to you guys. After a while, the rate of increase of your compensation will flatten out. The maximum amount is about $100,000 a month. After that, your compensation will not go up that much. That means, even if you joined 10 years late in the business, in the end, everyone will meet at the top. That's why you don't even have to start today. Even if you don't start today, and you start 10 years later, you can start your business under the same conditions. There will be a little bit of difference, of course. Maybe the person beside you who starts today will have $100,000 per month income after 10 years. Maybe you will only have started then, and it'll take you a long time. That's the only real difference. Just tell other people and go ahead. Tell them you'll join 5 or 10 years later. It's still the same. There will be no difference. Maybe it might even be better if you join 10 years later. Why would that be? What was it like when Atomy first started out? Today, we have this amazing building here, right? We have an auditorium. But 10 years ago, when we first started out, we had to pay rent for our office. At the time, we had an office space of about 400 square meters. The president's room, the company office rooms, storage, and Soul Center were all in that space. I would eat $2 meals with Soul Center members. In the beginning, we had our office name printed out on A4 paper. That's how our company started out. It was very difficult to do business there. Very difficult. You might be feeling envious of the people that started early. Let me tell you a story. At the time, a member had brought a guest to our office in Seoul. I think that guest was dragged there by the member. The member kept telling her to meet me. She was very well dressed when she came into my office. She wore high heels and had very fancy hair. Yeah. I started explaining about our company. Then she said, "Are you the president? Do you know what kind of job I have? My office is in a high-rise building, and our company building has rotating doors. Now, you're asking me to join your business here? Then she turned around and left the room. Her high heels were like 8 centimeters long. I can still hear the sound of her heels just ringing in my ears. They were red shoes. And that member who had brought her guest was so embarrassed. President Park, I'm so sorry. But honestly, I was more sorry to that member than she was to me. Imagine how difficult it must have been for her to bring that guest. But our company was so poor at the time. I was so sad that our members were being looked down upon. I remember my heart hurting for a long time after thinking such thoughts. Even under such harsh circumstances, the members that had joined during that time have become successful people today. It wasn't just an easy journey. However, the one common thing that everyone said was, Atomy is easier than any other work I've done in the past. That is why, if you want to join today, you will be able to engage in this business in a more favorable condition than any of your predecessors. Honestly, as you do this business, you will realize that this business is actually not that difficult. That is because Atomy has excellent and affordable products. It is easy to have the consumers repurchase our products. If you keep introducing Atomy's products to your acquaintances, they will keep buying the products. Because there is no harm done to them by buying Atomy's products, right? If not, you must have treated your friends horribly in the past. If your friends don't want to buy from you, then you need to reflect upon your life and see what went wrong. But if you look around your life, there are many people that wish you the best, right? Most people will think, well, it doesn't really hurt me at all. If it helps out that person make an income, then sure, I'll buy it from them. Just remember this when you're doing your business. Why then do people say this business is difficult? That is because they're not used to it. And they like to think like the following. Beginners think that just by telling someone one time that they're going to buy from them. Think about it. Do basketball players make 100% of their free throws? Let's say a basketball player misses a free throw. Is it reasonable for that basketball player to say, I quit. I'm not very good at this. Even basketball players can't make that many in the basket. What about baseball players? How well can they bat? Even good batters will miss 2 before hitting 1. This is the attitude of true professionals. So, when you're talking to others, just freely talk to them. Some won't listen to you, and that's okay. But just keep on talking, and some of the people you talk to will think. Do you know how beginners think? They will just keep thinking if the other person will join or not. And then they wake up one day and say, this is too difficult. They haven't done anything yet, and they say it's difficult. Professionals do not overthink too much. They just start talking, regardless of the responses. They just keep talking. They keep talking, and they don't stop. Then those who will listen, right? Should I really use those products or not? Should I go to the seminar or not? They start to wonder. A pro will just relax and let the others worry about it. They just talk to whoever they run into. It all depends on the listener's response. This is called the law of own mind. Who is it up to, whether they will listen or not? It's up to the listener. But whose responsibility is it to tell others? That's up to you. That is why all you have to do is talk to people. Among the listeners, there will be those who listen and those who don't listen. Every single person in the world does not have to listen for you to succeed. If only half of those you talk to will join, then you will succeed. Even if 10% will join, you will still succeed. If you talk to 10 people, then at least one person will listen, right? With that kind of attitude, you should just start talking to people. And since this is not something that will bring harm to anyone else, it's okay if people say they won't do it. You can just take revenge later. Yeah. How? By making $100,000 a month 10 years later. Then you show up a few years later with a driver and tell your friend you will buy them a nice meal. There's nothing sweeter than this type of revenge. Do you think that friend will then listen to you? Of course they will listen to you. Remember, the only difference is when you start. I would like to sincerely welcome everyone who is here in this seminar, and that concludes my lecture. Thank you.